Today I want to start on the caching. So let me share my screen. So anyone has any doubts from yesterday's session, they can ask now. Okay. I'll take 2-3 questions. Any questions from yesterday? Okay, right. So let's jump to what is caching. So as yesterday I spoke and I stopped there. So caching is a mechanism any application uses to reduce the content access time. Okay. So basically what happens is now the content that you have in your web application, okay, it will be very huge, like in MBs, right? So what we do for that is we will store that content. So for example, let's say I'm accessing an application. Let's say Amazon. So let's say there are 30 images in that page. So for the first time, it will pull these 30 images from the server or wherever it is. Sometimes it might be in the CDN. I'll explain what is CDN. Okay. Not sometimes, generally it will be in CDN. Okay. So it will pull from server or the CDN. Now, this is first time. Now, let's say I am reloading this page. Now, when I'm reloading this 30 images that I had downloaded, what will happen is this will be stored in my local storage, my local machine. Okay. So when I'm reloading, this data will be picked up from the local storage, not from the server. So let's say I'm pulling this data from local storage. Let's say I'm pulling the data from the server. Let's say server takes 5 seconds. What do you think local storage? It will be less than 5 seconds or greater than?
Less
Less
than 5.
than
Less than. It will be around 1 second, very less. Okay. Because that's why we use caching, right? It improves that time. So now see, when you are doing this, your response time improves like around 60 to 70%. So caching is that important, right? So when you use caching, you are improving your response time, that end user response time very much. Okay. So that is one thing. Now see this thing. Now, for example, out of these 30 images, let's say 28 images are same and 2 images got changed. Okay. So for that also what will happen is when this 2 image change happens, right, server will send a signal. So then that signal comes to clear the cache. This cache gets cleared and that new images will get pulled from the server, again get stored in the local storage. So this will happen continuously. Whenever anything gets updated, that invalidation of cache and creation of cache will keep happening. Okay, whenever any update or change happens on the server. That is one thing. Second is we also keep a standard time, like let's say 5 minutes or 1 day or like 1 week. So for this 1 week, the cache will be same. Then they will automatically after 1 week, the cache will get deleted. It will get pulled from the server. Again, cache will get updated. So this also people do, okay, in the applications. Not only that, we invalidate the cache using the request, but also using time. If a cache is very old, it's not that good, right? Because if it is too old, the data what it holds might be very old, right? So we cannot do that also. That's why we have both the mechanism. One is invalidation of cache whenever any update happens on the server, any file update or something. Second thing is we also keep a time, a cache expiry, we call it. Okay. So if I show you, if I go to Amazon, if I just go to inspect here, and let's say I open a request. And if you see, there is one cache control here. See, are you seeing the max age parameter? Able to see?
yes,
Right? Yeah.
Vishnu.
And also, if you see,
Yes.
it also has a expiry. See, it is 2045. Are you seeing? this request response header expiry it is. Okay, but that's why, so they have kept it a long duration. Because why they have kept it a long duration is because, so what do you think how they would have been handling the cache? By the request, right? So if they want to remove that, they will send it through the request, not a standard value. Are you getting my point? And also one more thing, are you able to see this one?
What do you mean by standard value?
Like 1 week, 1 day, 2 day, right? After that, the cache will get deleted automatically.
No, but how
Mhm.
this suppose I am sending a one Amazon.com, that's a main request,
Correct.
right? The
Yes.
the sub request will be cached, not
Correct.
Amazon.
Ah,
No, the
yes.
sub request will be how it identifies that this is the cache one, this is the not cached. Like how it
There,
is going to be.
so see, there is no not cache and cache. Ultimately, everything works on the source only, right? So in your HTML, how do you code? It's a source, right? Right. So for example, let's say I want an image. So in HTML, see, you have a source, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course,
So
there
if
is a
it's an
source.
image, automatically your browser will pick from that cache because your Google Chrome itself look for the cache first, not the server.
Okay.
Are you getting? So browser
Yes.
itself has that ability. So based on the request format, right? See now this is a request format I have for this JPG image. Okay. And in that request response headers and request headers, I am passing that. See, it's a cache or no cache or whatever. I'm passing it, right? So from the header, browser will know whether it has to store it or not. Are you getting my point?
Yes, got it.
Yeah. And also one more thing. See, here it is saying hit from Akamai. Anyone heard what is Akamai? Heard it before? This word?
I think it's a tool.
It's a
It's a
CDN.
traffic which
Pretty close. It's a CDN. Okay. So Akamai, what it does, right? It's a CDN. They are a leading CDN provider. So Amazon is using Akamai. That's the meaning of this. Okay. So what is Akamai? Akamai is a CDN. I'll explain what it is soon. Okay. Yeah, coming back to caching. Okay. So this is the local caching. Now see, in caching also there are different types of caching. Okay. Now, can I use the same technique on my server? What do you think? Now, caching is improving my response time, right? So can I use caching on my server in any way? What do you think?
no, I think so because caching should be in the local, right? So
Okay. So let's take this situation. Okay.
mhm.
I am hitting a request. I'm getting a response. Okay. Let's say this request is I'm hitting uh, mm, like more sort of request A and response B. Okay. Let's say U1, U2, U3, U4, all users. Okay. When you request A is hit, response B is coming. Now see, whenever request A is coming, if response B is not changing, it's same. I mean, like, let's say if there is a request for which the response is same for any user, can it happen like that? Means the response is not user dependent. Can you imagine some response like that?
Yes.
Right? Yes. For example, now this landing page, will it change with respect to user? No, because I haven't even logged in, no? So it doesn't even know which user is using this. So for every user, landing page will be same, isn't it? Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless and
Yes.
until the credentials are not entered, that would be seen.
Correct, right? So what I will do is now, since this response is same for all, why should I process every time, right? Once I will process and I will store it in my server cache. And then from
So that
there I
can
will pick.
so Vishnu, that can be done through WebSocket, right?
Oh, no, that is different. Okay, that's a different topic. Server caching is basically it's like RAM, no? You have your RAM. So inside RAM, whatever is getting stored is a cache, right? Similarly, in server cache, what happens is whatever things are coming and going again and again, right? Same thing. So that your web server, right? We call it a web server, like Apache, Tomcat, or whatever software you're using, web server inside your server. Okay, that web server will cache it. Cache it means it will not. So whenever that request will come next time, it will pick from the storage of the server. Not, it will not process anything. Are you getting?
So if all the there is no logged in user, for all it will be same, right? So
Correct.
same page it
Yeah.
will, and it
Same
will
page.
come from
Yes.
cache. Yeah.
So it will process only once, right? Only once it will process and it will keep it so that every time when that request comes, it will send that request. Like I don't need to use the CPU again and again, right? CPU and RAM, because it's already same for all, already processed. Unless there is some change, some code change or something happens, till that it will remain same. Now this thing will happen in the DB also. So that is called DB caching. Okay. Now let's say I'm hitting a query, an SQL query. Okay. I'm writing, let's select star from some table. Okay. From table where date is equal to some 1, 2. So this is one query. Okay. I'm writing, let's say select star from table where date is equal. So there's a table where I have a table with 2 columns, let's say date and employee name, some employee joining. Okay. So what I'm doing is for this date, whoever joined employee, right? I'm printing that. This query is for that. Now, with respect to the user who is accessing this query, will this query change? Like let's say Siddharth is running and also I am running. Okay, will the query result change?
No.
It will not, right? So what database will do? The result, right? It will store it in its cache. We call it the result cache. Okay, actually in database structure, we have multiple caches like library cache and all. So in that, we call it the result cache. So the result will get stored here. And whenever this query will come next time, it will get pulled from here. So this caching is there in every component, every single small units. You can enable the caching and even disable. So that option you have, okay? You can keep caching, you cannot keep caching. But it is there in every single small components, which you hear. The database, the web servers, the app server, then the your middleware, then similarly your client, which is your browser we saw caching, right? Are you getting my point, all of you? But all this caching fundamentally, why do we use? Why do we use?
To retrieve data faster. To reduce
Improve
the
the,
response.
yeah,
The
improve
rest
the
yes.
improve the performance. Actually, caching is important for performance testers, right? Because it will improve performance for us. So if caching is not enabled, actually we have to call it out, whether we can enable caching or not. We should ask.
If
Okay.
caching is enabled, it will reduce the tripping the request from server.
Yes. So it generally will reduce your response time drastically. But there's one catch here. Okay. When you're doing performance testing, do you do with cache enabled or disabled?
Disable.
Always we do the cache disable.
Yes. Why? Why do we do that?
Because whenever we generate a request, and so we simulate the real world, not the ideal world.
Yes, the answer is correct. Just with one extra fitting. That is, every time we should simulate as if the user is a new user, right? It's not that user is reloading a page or re-accessing something, right? It has to be like a new user is using or new user is opening, a unique user, right? That's why cache should be disabled, right? Are you getting my point? So let's say Siddharth is loading a page, okay, for the first time. Obviously, it will not come from cache. When he's reloading, it will come from cache. But when you're doing performance testing, will you be testing the reload or the first one?
The first one, right?
First one, right? So that's why we have to always keep the caching disabled. And that, how do you do in your JMeter, right? In JMeter, you have something called the HTTP cache manager element. Okay. This you can add it like just go to add config element and you can see this HTTP cache manager and just add it here. Okay. Once you add it, these options will appear. In that you have to checkbox this clear cache each iteration. If you checkbox this one, every time when your test is running, it will clear the cache for every user. I mean, like it will not take anything from cache. And this is very, very important. That's why I said one guy lost a job, I said, right? Because he ran a test and he certified it by, for example, he ran the test and it was giving around, let's say 1 second. Okay. But the problem was this was with cache enabled, which the poor guy didn't, somehow he missed it. Okay. In the runtime settings and all somewhere. And what happened is in the production, it showed 10 seconds. Isn't it a disaster or not?
The lifetime blunder.
Yes, right. And it's such a small thing, right? Which he shouldn't have made the error. But obviously, it went to production. There was some fast deployment and all. He had less time or whatever his reasons are. We don't know. But yes, and that caused a big outage actually. Okay, that there were like a heavy downtime, and we had to roll back the code and all. Yes, and he obviously got changed to a different project. I can't say lost the job, but he was no more with the project. Okay, so what I'm saying is that important the caching is. So when you are doing performance testing, unless there is a specific need, you have to keep cache disabled. Clear, all of you? Any doubts in this? Okay. Yeah. Now coming to the next topic, which is called a CDN. So how many of you have heard about CDN before? So what is a CDN? Anyone? Okay, any guess what the CDN could be?
Is it a content delivery network?
Yes, that's the definition. I mean, like the expansion of it. But what does the CDN do exactly? Like why do we need it?
It is a control the traffic.
All this JavaScript,
Mm,
these images, and so instead of loading it from server, so they
okay. Mhm.
loading it in our from local.
Maybe
Okay.
to simulate load from different places.
Lit, little close, but not simulate load. Okay. Now I will put it in this way. Okay. So see, what happens is now let's say I have my system in which my server is running. Okay, I'll just put server here. And I have my all files are here. The images and all those stuff are here. Okay.
Oh.
So this is in US. Okay. Now I am in India and I am trying to access the application from US. So it will become very slow, right? Because I have to access and all the images and everything has to travel here. Code is fine because code is like, let's say 140 KB. Okay, less only. Okay, it will come. But images are, let's say 20 MB in size. So it will take time to come from US to India. I mean, like the network, slowness and all those stuff. So what we do, right? A solution to this problem. Now, let's say my customers are in India, UK, and let's say somewhere in Finland, something like that. So what I do, I separate this server, this one, into two. One is server codes, and second is the images, JavaScript, CSS, and those files. I separate those two things. Okay. Code, I will keep it in my server in US itself. The images and all, I will put it into my another server, which is running in each of these places. Okay, in UK, India, and Finland. Now, when a UK guy is accessing, code will come from here, images will come from here. Code will come from here, images will come from here. Code will come from there, images will come from here. So will my latency reduce or not? Because this 20 MB data will be delivered fast, isn't it? All of you?
Yes.
Right? Now my question is, when I say this, that it will be delivered from here, I will show you how, okay? See, now when I see, if someone has worked on an HTML code before, so now this is the HTML code I have, okay, where I'm putting that image. Now, how is the image getting pulled? How is the image getting pulled?
The source location is defined, from there it is going to.
Correct, right? So I can keep it anywhere. It doesn't matter. I have to keep it on my server. Only the source I have to update properly in my code. Are you getting my point? All of you? So
Yes.
whether I keep my source in Mumbai, US, India, anywhere, just I have to keep that proper endpoint here. That's all. Now code can be somewhere, source can be somewhere. Okay, so that's the beauty of using these images and JavaScript, CSS and all, and keeping it in different places, because you just need to call it using source. Okay, now the next thing. Now you might ask me this question, then why can't I put the code also here? Does that point, I mean, like, anyone got that point in mind? Why I'm keeping only code in US? Why can't I keep my code also here? Anyone got that question?
Yes.
So why can't I keep the code? Like, why I'm separating image and code? What is the advantage?
Faster response.
Yes, obviously. But why? Why the response becomes faster?
So I think it's distributed. We can call both the things at a single time. Right?
That is
Instead
true.
of
Parallel. Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Parallel is happening. Yes, true. Okay, let's assume this. Okay, there's a road.
Ready the code on server?
Yeah, all this. Okay, now to that point. Okay, so see, let's say an elephant is going through this road. Okay, and let's say a bike is coming in back coming behind. Now, when the road is like this, now bike has to always, I mean, like, maybe little wait for the elephant to cross, and also it will slow down, right? Now, let's say the road is like this. Okay, it's a small road for the bike, and there is another road for the elephant. Now, out of these two setup, which one do you think will be faster?
The below one.
Separate roads.
Separate roads, right? So that's where this elephant is your images and all, which are heavy in size. Okay, bike is your code, right? So that's why what we do when we separate, when we are accessing both from a same place, unnecessarily you are putting more load on your CPU, right? We don't need to. So that's why what we do is, let's say I have one CPU, CPU2, okay, A and B. Now here in this A, let's say RAM is 64 GB, CPU is 16 cores, okay, and disk is, let's say, normal hard disk. Okay, now in the B, what I do, RAM is 8 GB, CPU is 4 core, and disk is, let's say, SSD, let's say 1000 GB, and here it is 100 GB. Now, when you compare A and B, what is the difference you see? Okay, let's say you are a person who runs lot of code in your system. Which system you will buy, A or B?
A.
Yeah.
A. Okay. Now let's say you are a person who watches lot of movies, videos, and some photos and all. You like to see, store. Which one you will see? Which one you will take?
B.
B. Right. So that is the concept of CDN also. This
Okay.
is the CDN. Okay, CDNs are very high-end machines optimized for heavy files. Okay, but not for code, not optimized for code, but optimized for heavy files. Okay, now your server is optimized for code, not for heavy files. Are you getting all of you? Now coming to, let's say this B I have 5 and A I will have only 1. Any reason why? Why I can't have A also 5?
Cost.
Yes, because this one will be 10 times costly than this. Why? Because RAM and CPU is costly, not the disk. Are you getting my point? Hello, all of you?
Yes, yeah.
RAM and CPU is more costly than the disk, right? So disk, that's why I can have 5 disk CPUs. I can have only 1 of this. That is enough for me. Now, because again, I don't need 5 because I have separated already the images and all. So traffic is also less in this. So it's purely for only code processing and all, right? So that is the beauty of CDN. Okay. That's why we keep it more count and server only 1. That is one thing. So cost also reduced. Because if both were on the same machine, I should have 3 of them, maybe some to even keep the images and server both together. So their cost also will increase. So CDN has indirectly reduced the cost also and also increased the speed. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now the thing. Now people thought, okay, see these images. Do you think images are very secured thing? It has to be kept secured.
Yes.
Is it? Like
Not required.
because see,
No.
yeah, because see, for example, if I go to this, I right click, I can save the image. That's all. Right? There's no safety. I mean, like there's no security in that required. Are you getting my point? I can just save it. I'm saying these situations, okay? Not always. See, there will be some places where that, like say Facebook and all, maybe you cannot download. But here I'm saying, here there is no security required, right? Hello? Getting my point?
Yes.
Yes.
So what people thought is, okay, let's start my own business for CDN. That is where Akamai comes into picture. So what they did is you focus on your job, which is your application on your server and all. We will take care of your images, files, JavaScript, CSS and all. You can store on our server. You can pay us for that. We have very high-end CPUs, which are good for videos, images and all. And we have kept it at different locations like US, India and all, wherever you can buy, use it. Right. So that is where Akamai comes into picture. Service provider like or Cloudflare. All this comes into picture. They are CDN or content delivery networks who provide that CDN service to big customers like Amazon or any big. So even if you see here, Amazon is using Akamai. You see here, if I just go to this image, inspect. So you see the source is not Amazon. See, it is coming from images na.ssl. It's a different domain. Able to see? It's not Amazon.com. It is coming from a different source, a different domain. And if I go more inside this, if I go to an image, I can clearly see the source is source signature. If I see for the image, scroll down. See, now it is CloudFront. They are using multiple CDNs. See, able to see? Initially it was Akamai. Now it is CloudFront. So all these are actually CDNs. Are you getting my point, all of you? Now, can I keep my own CDN as a business? Yes, I can. Right. Only thing is at multiple locations, I have to keep my CPU and I have to manage. Either I have to manage the cloud, either I have to manage my own premise, or either I have to give it to a third party. These are the only 3 solutions. Yeah, please go ahead. You had some question?
I mean, like if you geographically across the world, we have different locations. So for every location, having a different CDNs or the same CDN.
Yeah, that is the way they. But the problem is again, more the location, more cost. Okay, so they optimize, right? Like for example, if India and Thailand are near, they will keep only in India, not in Thailand. Right? All of you? So much silence. Any doubts, anyone till now?
No.
So in that sense, Vishnu, people who are accessing from India, I mean, have those images be stored there. I mean, so the performance will be very speed. But in other locations we access, then the performance will be very high, right? Like
Yeah,
response.
see, for example, if you are in US, you will have a server in US also, no CDN. They will get from US CDN. They will get the data.
So same data in different geographical location, you are saying?
Yes, correct. Same copies they will maintain. And good thing about third-party services are even the URL will not change. So when you are coding, you can keep that same source. But based on the location, automatically Akamai will send it from India, US, wherever.
So it
Like
will
what?
be taking user's location on that basis, whichever the nearest.
Yes, correct.
Speaking. Okay.
Yes. Even the source will also be same because they will access the, I mean, they will know from which IP, which location that is coming, and they will send it from there. Ultimately, you have to pay to the Akamai only based on the number of requests. Like for 1,000 requests, this much money they will charge.
But
Okay.
don't you think, Vishnu, that
Mhm.
if such a configuration or such a service provider is there, that is getting a difficult number of jobs are reduced for the performance in testers?
Okay, sorry, Siddharth, repeat your question. I didn't get your question.
No, I'm saying that such a configuration like a CDN, the server mirroring, the new technology, new configurations are coming in today's world. So it is, is creating a difficult for performance engineers
But
to
actually,
identify
what
the
I will
bottlenecks.
say, but what I will say, no, it is good for performance testers. Can you say why?
That's what that is my question. How it is, how it
Yeah,
could be.
because see, the systems are getting more complex. Are you understanding that? So though the performance is improving, but without validation, you cannot put it into production. Initially, by just seeing or maybe the development itself, you knew, okay, this will happen. But now it's not that case. Even what is getting developed and when you test is totally different.
Like what happens in real world, whenever we are running a test and CDN providers are there, if the contract is SaaS, so but they don't even allow us to touch it.
Correct. Yes. Yes. But yeah, again, see why you are touching it. I already said, right? Performance testers never worry about the embedded resources, right? JavaScript, CSS, or the pictures, right? Why do you want to touch it?
No, sometimes it encrypting, decrypting takes some
No,
time.
nothing, right? Even we don't put code in their place, right? CDNs, we never put our code.
No, that's correct. That's absolutely correct. CDN doesn't store, even if you are asking for code also, they are not allowing you. They won't allow you.
Correct. No. So see, CDNs will only store the embedded resources and we are not at all worried about that, right? As a performance tester, it's in the UI testing. It's a different thing, right? Performance testing, you focus only on your requests and that is on your server. The processing happens, right? I hope all of you are getting my point, this point.
Yes, I agree. Since the first day you have explained this.
Right. Yeah. Okay, right. So any doubts anyone see in the CDN? So if someone asks you what is a CDN now, okay, will you be able to answer in an interview? Just say that answer in your mind. Okay, just I'm asking as an interviewer. So can you explain how CDN improves the performance of an application? Can someone answer this question in simple words?
By optimizing for the heavy like files and all, like distributing among the server and the different
locations. Okay.
Yeah.
So
locations,
in a simple word, you can answer this way.
Putting a
bringing,
different embedded resource near to the users.
Yes, exactly. That's a very good word, okay, to use. You are bringing the resources closer to the end user, thus reducing the latency and thus improving the performance. Clear? When you use these words like technical words, right, like latency and all, then the interviewer will get a notion that you are very good in that technical stuff. So use such technical words, okay, like end user, latency, then similarly throughput, response time. Don't use time, use response time, right? So such things are also very important when you are attending an interview, okay, because then they will not go very deeper into those because they will know you already know, right? Though you don't know. So you will be saved actually. Okay. But if you call some things out which are non-technical, they will try to analyze it further to check your knowledge in that. So similarly, CDN, if someone asks you content delivery network, right? So you can call out like Akamai or something, right? Like then they will sure shot come to know, okay, you have seen it or you have worked on it, right? So they will not go deeper into that. Getting my point, all of you?
So Vishnu, as you said yesterday, like these embedded resources you will not be including in our scripting, like we'll be disabling it because
Yes.
if
Not
those are
disabling,
living,
it will not come. We will filter it out in JMeter.
yeah, we'll it out. So because
Yes.
you said even optimizing those files, there will not be much difference, you said.
Correct.
So in that sense, if you see here, still we'll be filtering it out and doing the performance testing. So what is the point of discussing again on CDN?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. So see, when you are doing performance testing, you're not worried about CDN. But if CDN is not there, your application performance is degraded, right? So as a performance tester, you should recommend, right, if a CDN can be implemented. Though in the see, there's the two different things. The UI, in the UI also things get slower. You can recommend things, right? Caching, CDN. Because nothing more you can do in the UI more than this. Are you getting, Rohit?
Yes, Vishnu.
Yeah. So when the UI comes into picture, you have to recommend these things, right? And one more thing, why you should know about CDN? Because when you are testing your application, you should not hit your CDN URL. You have to hit from your backend URL. That's also very important. Did you all get the last line which I said?
No.
Yes.
What does that mean, that hitting from backend?
Yes. So see, sometimes what happens now, after CDN, there will be a load balancer which will route your request to the server and the real CDN. Okay. So if you try to hit it with the CDN URL, you are indirectly hitting the CDN also. So that will add a load to your performance testing. So you have to bypass it and use the load balancer URL while you are testing. Okay, anyways, this is little high jump. We will see that, okay, when we go to load balancer. But what I'm saying is you should know whether your application has a CDN or not, has a caching or not. So these are very important as a performance tester. When you start working on it itself, you have to get an idea. You have to speak to the developers and understand what all caching is there, what CDN we are using, which all locations the CDNs we have configured, right? So these questions you have to ask your architect or the development team before you start performance testing.
So last, whatever you are saying, so you are saying the whatever the actual CDN, we will hit directly that one to check the
Yeah,
performance.
because we should not, right? Because that is not correct, right? While when you're testing, so we should not. So we should have a different URL if you have a CDN. So now if I'm testing Amazon.com, performance testing, I will not use Amazon.com. I will have a different URL, which will be actually hitting the load balancer first. Because that is where then my story will start as a performance tester. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, all these concepts we'll see, okay, when we move on with the things. Anyways, this is just a beginning, right? We will go in depth in all this request and all those URLs, environments, what is dev environment, perf environment, UT environment. For those who are new to those things and all, okay, it will be clear. Yeah, any doubts, anyone other than this? Or can I proceed?
These CDNs are server-side caching, Vishnu?
CDNs are not server-side caching. CDNs are totally a different server, we can say. Are you getting? So it's more sort of like this Chrome is running in my system, right? What I'm showing. Similarly, now let's say there is an application, let's say maybe Windows, okay, or not Windows, sorry, maybe Microsoft Office, MS Office is running in Siddharth's machine, right? So it is something like that. Chrome is running in my machine, in Siddharth's machine, MS Office is running, but both are different machines, right? Similarly, CDN is a different machine, your server is a different machine. Both will be on different CPUs. Are you getting Rohit?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So see, my question to all of you now, just to understand, what do you think is a server? When I say server, what is it? Can my laptop be a server?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, right. I can host an application in my laptop. I will show you that. Okay. Let me start a Tomcat server in my machine. I'll show this. Okay. When we go in the further sessions, I'll show how I configured it and all. But for now, just to show you.
Like for Jenkins also we can do, right? Same
Yes.
thing.
Yes. Yeah. So now I'm starting a Tomcat server on my machine. Now in this, if I go to my, I'll show you. If I just go to one small application which I've deployed on this Tomcat. Let the Tomcat start. See, now this JPEG store application, where is it running? Where is it running?
Your local host, yeah, your machine.
Yes, in my machine, right? So now where is the code for this application? Sitting. Because someone would have coded this, right? The HTML and all those. It is also in my local machine now, right?
Yeah.
So same thing happens with the server. Only thing difference is instead of this local, I will change it to some domain. That how I do? I do it by exposing it to the external world, the IP, right? My local machine has an IP. So what I do is I will expose that IP to the external world. So anyone in the internet can access that IP. Okay, once that IP is accessible, either they can enter the IP directly like this and access my application, or else they can enter the domain to which I have pointed that IP. That I will show you. Okay, how do we point and all? So see, pointing how it happens, right? Let's say, have you heard this GoDaddy and all?
Yes.
Right? You will see this ad, right? GoDaddy, buy a domain, right?
Domain.
Now I will show you one thing. Okay, let me open my Cloudflare account. Just a minute. So the thing is, even I don't do testing alone. I do a little bit of, I'm like very much interested into development and all, right? So you will be able to see those things in real in my system, right? So that's why I'm able to show you. But generally, people who get into testing, they might not dig deeper into the what happens in the background in the development. Okay, but that's good to know. Okay, these things, because then you will have that better understanding of debugging something. Okay. Let me show you my just logging in. And please let me know, okay, if you don't want to see these things, okay, if it is going out of topic or you want more JMeter alone, please do let me know. Okay, then I will reduce the amount of.
No, because there is a saying called a good developer can be only a good tester.
Yeah, so that's why I thought, okay, better to show you all these things. Okay, so now, see, now I am inside my Cloudflare account. Okay, please don't share it with anyone. Okay, now, yeah. So now see, I have bought a domain called edv2.com. Okay, and in that domain, what I have done, I have added an IP. See, the A record we call it. That's all. So my domain I have bought from Cloudflare. Now, why am I paying for this domain every year to Cloudflare? Can anyone answer why? Why do you think I'm paying them for every year?
To test something, to develop something, and domain can be used in anywhere.
So see, let's say I bought sit.com. Okay. Can anyone buy sit.com now?
Yeah, nobody.
No.
No, right? Once I buy it, no one else should be able to buy it, right? So this thing which I bought anywhere in the world, okay, this has to be stored in one common repository, right? Are you getting my point? So let's say I bought xyz.com. Now this has to get stored in a book somewhere, right? So anyone from the world, anyone is going to try to buy xyz.com, they should not be able to do. Because this book already I have booked. Okay, xy.com is belongs to Vishnu. That's all. No one else can buy it. But there should be some cost for that, right? To maintain the books. Are you getting my point? Some cost involved in maintaining that book or that repository, that common, right? This is called registrars, web registrars or domain registrars, we call it. Okay, they maintain that. Okay, and for that I pay them money yearly, or I can buy it for 2 years, 3 years, because they will make sure that domain belongs to me. Now, in case if I forget to renew or I don't pay, this will go to someone else. They can buy actually after some days, not suddenly, but after some days they can buy it. That's where you would have heard this story like Facebook.com, they lost that domain. Did you hear that sometime back? For 1 day, 2 day, someone bought it. Did you hear that news little time back?
The recent story is about Jio's Hotstar.
Yeah, that is that one child bought it, right? Like something like that. Yes,
No.
same thing, right? So this .com is very important. Now let's say, even what do you think this Amazon.com value will be? Because every domain has a value, okay, like 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 100 rupees. What do you think the Amazon.com value will be? It is in billions of dollars. Okay, not 1 or 2 rupees. If someone can buy Amazon.com, it is of billions of dollars, not even 100 billion, more than that. Because the Amazon company itself is standing on this domain, right? Are you getting my point? If someone buys it, they can put anything on that website. All the Amazon users will go there, isn't it? Are you getting my point? So domains are that important. Okay. So and how do I do it? So what after I buy it, then let's say my system has some IP, right? So for example, now let me log into my account here. That also I will show you. Let me log in. How the cloud looks. Okay, I will open my Azure account so that you get an idea how the. So these are some confidential things. So all of you can refrain from sharing it. I mean, like, yeah, I think it's a public video, but anyways, no issues. But better not to share with, I mean, like, particularly share with anyone. Okay, if someone comes and sees it, it's okay. Yeah. Now, if I go to this here, my Azure account, if you see, this is where my application is lying. Okay, on my Azure, the code and all. This is my system. I mean, like my CPU, which is running Linux-based CPU, right? Which has 4 cores, 16 GB RAM, and this IP, right? This is my system IP, and that is what I am updating in my Cloudflare also. See this one, whatever you're seeing here, they record this one. Okay, so that is how the IP is mapped to the domain. Now, whenever a person hits that domain, they actually in background, they are going to that IP. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Right. So when I hit Amazon.com, he's going to 172.2. Whatever. But that, because see, as a person, which is easy for us to remember, Amazon.com or that number.
Amazon.com.
Right. So that's why we have domains. Okay. And the IP is where that system in which my code and everything is lying. Automatically, my browser will point there. Okay. Once I enter the domain. And that step where the domain is pointed to that IP, we call it the DNS lookup. in the Chrome browser or any browser. And DNS lookup also takes some time. If you are if where you have put your system, right, like say Azure, AWS or cloud or wherever, that DNS lookup time will change because based on the performance of that cloud, where that system is, and even how far it is, whether it's in US, India, wherever, right? Yeah. So any doubts anyone till now?
No, nothing from my side.
No.
Anything too much to digest? Anything you felt okay, little I have to go deeper? Any topic like that you felt today? Okay, because see, why I asked is like I can also share some good materials which you can read more on to go deeper, right? Like for the CDN and all. So that's why I asked. But even if you browse, surf through, also you can read more, okay, on CDN and all. Though this, see, for example, there are some things which are little in scope, right? Where we have only 40 hours, so somewhere I have to put a break, right? So I sometimes will put that break, right? But you can go deeper.
So there is a weekend, so I request you, so if you can give us some good material to read or good video to go through it, just let me know.
Yes, yes. But yeah, so actually we were going to start the private sessions from today, but team planned to extend it because of the request from few. So yeah, that's a good thing also. So that's why I could meet you all. And soon, yeah, we once that group is created, we will share the material links and all there. Okay. Siddharth? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine for me. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, any other doubts, anyone? Yeah.
Spoke about server side caching, right?
Yeah, Rohit.
Yeah, did we cover that server side caching?
Yeah, server side caching is where we spoke about the DB and all, no? The result cache. Remember? Server will store the results. That is server caching.
So where does it store? Krishna is saying in the results.
Yeah, so a server is there. See, so what is a server? It has a CPU, it has a RAM, it has a disk, right? So it will store in the disk.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Of the server. Okay. Now the server can have multiple CPUs also. Okay. It's not that it can have only one. It can have 3, 4, 5. Okay. Based on its requirement. If your application is very big, it can have 10 CPUs also. Only thing is all of the 10 CPUs will be connected to the same disk. So that data is shared by each. Okay, right. So I don't want to go too much further today. So yeah, in JMeter, HTTP cache manager is very important. Okay, so that's why in any script that you use, you have to use the HTTP cache manager. Okay, and that's what I can say a default element you have to use. Similarly, there is cookie authorization, all those things we will see. Okay, what these elements are one by one. And today, actually, I was planning to run a small test and show you how the summary report looks like, but due to some things which we went little deeper, I couldn't. Let me see if I can quickly show you something here. Okay, so see, now I am running a test where I am just launching, then signing in and choosing a category and choosing a subcategory. So these are the 4 steps I am doing, okay, in my script. And you can see I'm running it with 5 users, and this is a summary report, right? Where you can see the summary of the test that is running.
Vishnu, we are not able to see your screen.
Oh, okay. Like when did my screen sharing stopped? What was the last thing you saw, all of you? Did someone remember?
The cloud
IP
server.
address, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay. Yeah. So now what I've done is I've started a small test, okay, in JMeter with 4 steps, or we can say 4 transactions. Okay. Now what is transaction and all I will explain. And I've added a small pacing and all those stuff. I'm running it. So in the summary report, actually, this is the very important report in JMeter where you see how much throughput you are hitting. For example, now I'm launching. This is a launching transaction. So if you see, I'm hitting around 130 per second. So what does that mean? What does this 150 or 160 per second means?
You mean like 150 processed by that server?
Yeah. So I am launching 168 times in a second. Are you able to imagine? So that just with 5 users. Now, why is it happening like that? Why so much I am able to hit in a second?
We know think time and pacing.
Because my response time is just 3 milliseconds. See? Able to see?
Yeah.
It is just 3 milliseconds. Now, why it is only 3 milliseconds? Because it is on my local machine, right?
Your server.
Yeah, it's in my own server. So there's no latency at all, right? Because where my JMeter is, my application is also there. So there is no latency at all. So that's very fast. And since it is very fast, I'm able to hit 168 times in a second, though with 5 users. Now, same thing. Okay, let me show you one thing. Same thing. Now see, now it is 168 per second. Okay, remember this. Okay, I will just take a screenshot of this.
Generally, will the performance testers do this such a type of testing, like running the PT in server on that?
Yeah, we do. Yes, because ultimately when you do performance testing, your server has to be very close to you to avoid the latency.
But real time, it won't happen, right?
Real time, it won't happen, but that's why I said in performance testing, we don't worry much about the user side issues, right? Which is brought by the user, but we are more worried about our server side issues. Okay, that's why when you run a performance test, you might get a remote machine and all to run the test near that customer, wherever he is, US. If you're working from India, if your application is hosted in US, you will get a remote machine in which you can run your JMeter. Okay. Yeah. You access it using India from India, just and run the test there in that machine. So that latency is very low. Because see, if latency is there also, you cannot do anything about it, right? So with something which you cannot do, and also latency keeps varying also. And that's a big issue, right? If you're testing once and second time it is different, third time it is different, how will you complete your test? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why you have to reduce the latency as much as you can when you're testing. Okay, so now let me run one second. Okay, see now what happens. How much is my throughput now?
29. Yeah, 29.
See how fast it reduced, right? Now with 5 users, I'm able to hit only 35 per second, which was 170 per second before. Only because I added a think time. I will explain what is a think time, what is pay a little slow and all. We will see that, but just wanted to show you that. Okay. So that is how the timers actually, I mean, like you can use timers and you can use pacing to control your throughput. And not only those, you even the elements like throughput controllers, right? There are many things in JMeter which you can use, okay, to control the throughput with which you are hitting. And this is the average response time that you see here, the average. Then you have the error percentage here, a number of samples you have hit. You can see it here in that specific time, right? When you ran the test. Yeah, and all those things we will see, okay, anyways, in depth. Just wanted to show you so that you get a feel how the test runs happen and how the summary report in a high level way looks like. Now, this is a high level report, okay, but a detailed report is also there. We call it an HTML report, okay. That also I will show you quickly.
Vishnu, we need to control the throughput just to make it a real world scenario.
Yes, yes. Because see, if you give same throughput to all the transaction, it doesn't make sense, right? You have to control the throughput as per your NFR. So that we do using these techniques. Okay, that we will learn. And this is a generated report, actually, a HTML report, which JMeter gives you. Okay, this also we will learn how to customize, how to create this report and all. Okay, JMeter actually generates and gives you this by some elements or some steps you follow. Okay, we'll learn all these things anyways. Okay. Yeah. So any questions, or else we can stop it here for today.
Vishnu, for recording the script, are you using a JMeter or are you doing it in
We
JMeter
will learn 3 techniques. We will learn 3 techniques or even 4 techniques. Okay. Through which, because this time what I have done is I have even added one new technique using AI, how you can generate a script. Okay. So that will be useful for you. Maybe, I don't know, during interviews also you can say like you try to implement it in your organization. They ask this innovation, right? Always any organization will ask for innovations. So if someone asks you what innovation you did in your organization, you can just call out this, right? So that also we will learn. Okay, how you, but yeah, it's not that 100% script will be ready with AI. 80-70% will be ready. Then some manual work you need to do, a cleanup and all, right? So the recording part, yeah, you can do easily using AI, but the enhancement you have to do. Okay.
Okay, so that is even with the JMeter and everything,
yes.
right? We have to
no,
modify.
but actually with AI, the thing is even correlation also it will do and give you some things.
Okay.
Yeah, actually AI reduces little time for you, but there is problem because AI you cannot completely rely. I mean, like there are some places or some things which you need to take care in using AI. That we will learn. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because anyways, we are in the AI era, right? We should know what all things we can do using AI, because ultimately that if it can improve our productivity, yes, why not? But surely AI is not taking away full of our job. Only we have to be, we have to become more productive using AI, right? That should be our focus. Even report generation, recommendations and all. Actually, you can use different hacks in AI that we can see as we progress in the course. Wherever I can, okay, I will show. Okay, anything else, anyone? All good? All ready for the weekend, I think. I'm holding all here. Is it? Okay, yeah. Then thank you all. Have a good day and good weekend ahead. We'll meet on Monday. Thank you all, and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vishnu.
Thank you, Isha.